How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Today's episode of My Bad Financial Decisions. Sorry, a little parched. We're going to be reinstalling a rear diff in the machine. I know I said that I was going to try to get you guys a video of rebuilding the original one. Unfortunately, it was just in too bad a shape to even try. I mean, it basically needed everything. Pinion, ring, bearings, the whole nine. So, and the housing was a little messed up, so I said screw it. I bought a used one from a local guy. He put all new bearings in it right in front of me, so I know it's good to go. We just need to get it back in there. I also rebuilt the drive shaft, put new U-joints in it. There'll be a video coming out on that. It may come out before this one, I'm not entirely sure. We'll see how the whole thing plays out. We also did a video on greasing the wheel bearings, the rear wheel bearings. That'll be coming out shortly too. I think that's going to come out after all this is done. But yeah, we got new axles, we got all the parts we need, threw a set of brake pads on the rear. So we're going to try to get this thing shoved back together and hopefully take it for a little bit of a ride today, you know, more than just around the yard, which is all I was able to do before I tore the rear differential out. But yeah, let's get after it. Let's shove this thing back in here. Let me get you guys over in the stand here. Apologize if you get motion sick. I'm trying not to shake the camera around too much. Make sure you guys got a good view of what's going on. Alright. We'll go that way a little bit. There. Now you can kind of get a bird's eye view of everything. I did have to pull the diff plugs out of my old one and put them into this new diff that I got. That one was really stuck in there, so I ended up welding a nut to it to get it out. That's just to get me by until I can get to the dealer on Monday. Can you guys? You can see that I had to weld a nut there. Till I can get to the dealer and get a new one. But yeah, so at least now we've got a way to fill it up. And just want to check something here. Okay. Yeah, there's a little bit of noise there, but it's to be expected with these. Now I've already got the right side rear axle in, so basically we're gonna pop that into here, and then we're gonna slide the whole thing in, get the drive shaft connected, and get that bolt in, and then we'll start putting this side all back together. Put the trailing arm in. You know, once we get the diff bolted in, we'll put the trailing arm back in, get the axle in, and all that kind of stuff. So, without further ado, or further gilding the lily, I'm gonna take this little guy here. I don't know, you guys probably can't see what I'm doing, but I mean, just putting an axle back in, it's not really getting the splines lined up can be a bit of a chore sometimes. Come on. Of course, it's going to fight me right to the bitter end. Sorry if you guys can't see this. This isn't something I can do and hold the camera at the same time, unfortunately. It's a bit of a bear to do, so bear with me for a second. Maybe we can just touch it down here a little bit. See, maybe you can see some of that. Oop. Sorry if you get motion sick easily. I got to use a weird camera stand because my other one broke. Although, in all honesty, I think this would probably be better served doing this with the hub off the other side. As these new snap rings they will fight you. There we go. Alright. Got that in there. Now we just gotta get our diff up here. I am gonna fight it a little bit because this does have a 2-inch lift in it, as you can see over here. So it puts extra strain on the axles. So getting everything lined back up is a bit of a chore, but we'll get it there. May need to do a little prying action here. Gotta get her twisted around. Not that this thing came out the smoothest when we pulled it out the first time, but you know, we'll get there. I don't really want to go smacking on it with a hammer because could end up damaging the case or potentially cracking it, which, you know, neither one of those things is something you want to do. There it is. It is a touch warm here today. A little on the muggy side, but yeah, that's kind of to be expected for this area for this time of year. I don't know if that helped or hurt. I think that just made things worse. Like I said, you do this to your machine, you're probably not going to have to fight with it quite this much because, you know, you may not have a lift in yours. But this one's lifted, so it's a little bit of a struggle to get everything lined up. And if you gotta use a little gentle persuasion, make sure you're not bending or breaking anything. It's the last thing you want to do, especially after going through all this and everything that I've been through with this machine so far. So, ooh, she's a fighter. Alright, tell you what, save you guys the aggravation of watching me sit here and struggle with this. I'll bring you back as soon as I've got it back in the machine. Hey guys, welcome back. Yeah, so what's been about, I don't know, the split second for you guys has actually been about four and a half hours for me. I fought trying to get the axles in, trying to get everything lined up, and as it turned out, the right side axle that I had ordered is about 3/4 of an inch too long. Went back, read the Amazon reviews, and that was exactly what everybody said. It's too long, it didn't fit. Messaged the seller, told them I was looking to return it, and they basically told me that because I had installed it, that they weren't going to take it back. And you know, at that point I'm out $70, so what do you do? Now I did what any redneck would do. I cannibalized the new axle for the boot that I needed and put it on the old axle. So we got this one fixed up. This is the old axle. I mean, there wasn't anything wrong with it. The boot was ripped right here is what the problem was, which is a very common problem when you're running a lift kit like that. It puts a lot of strain on the boots unless you've got like extended axles or something like that. I started plugging away at it and kind of got into a groove, and then realized, you know, maybe I ought to be recording this. And I did get the front, this drive shaft bolt in. See if you guys can see that little guy right there. I wasn't going to record that anyway because that is a bit of a fight to get that started. Once you get it started, it's not terrible, but actually getting the threads started to where you can get a wrench on it is not fun by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm going to throw you guys in the stand here. You can come along with me for the rest of this little journey if my camera will ever focus. I just got to put the bolts in the diff, put the hitch back, put the rear plate back on, and the hitch and all that stuff. But we'll get you a little bit of action here. Let's see if I can get you guys in the stand without making you seasick. There we go. All right, now I do have I got one bolt in and tight to kind of hold everything where I need it to be, so I'm not fighting with it. Oh, and another thing, another little tidbit, note, whatever you want to call it. When it comes to putting the swing arm bolt back in, get you guys a little bit of a better view here. When it comes to putting that swing arm bolt back in, make sure you got somebody there to help you, because getting both sides lined up and getting that bolt through there is not fun. It's a lot easier with two people. You know, if you got to grab your wife, your girlfriend, a buddy that owes you a favor, whatever the case may be, just grab an extra pair of hands to help you with that. I struggled with it. I finally got it back together, but believe me, you're better off with two people. So, on to the next stage here. We got to put this little beauty back on. And actually, I think what we're going to do before we put any of those 13 mil bolts in, we're going to get this lower differential bolt back in here. That way we know that's lined up and we're not fighting with it. Push that back. Alright, and this one here is where the hitch bolt's on. Actually, I can't put that in yet. I don't know why I did that. Boy, you guys tell I'm a little frustrated. Been a long afternoon. So, pull that guy back out of there. Actually, I think I had to use a pry bar last time. And all kinds of noise over here. Alright, so anyway, I guess we'll just have to throw this up here and we'll deal with getting it lined up after the fact. Come on. Now you gotta fight me. Been doing it to me all day, and if I'm being honest, I'm kind of tired of it. We'll get these 13 millimeter bolts back in here. Well, 13 millimeter head. I'm not sure what the actual size of the bolt itself is. I used to know how that worked. Certain head and nut sizes were certain actual bolt sizes. Probably, if I had to guess, maybe like an M8 or an M10 bolt, something along those lines. We'll get these threaded in and we'll leave them loose for now so we can put the hitch back on and make sure everything lines up before we go running these, before we go sending these ones home. You don't want to have to go back through and loosen it all back up again because you tighten it down and it's not right, now it's fighting you, it doesn't want to come back apart. Any of you people that have, you folks, I shouldn't say people, it's not very nice, that have spent any amount of time working on stuff, you know the drill with that. Don't tighten everything down until you've got it all back together. That way everything lines up. That especially applies to exhaust work. I've been bitten by that one more than a few times, and it can be a real pain to have to undo everything all over again and start at the beginning. Get some of this stuff. Made a nice organized pile of all my bolts and everything, and yeah, they're all in my way. Good place for them, right? Okay, so sit down here. I'm already filthy, so it doesn't really make a difference at this point. And this little beauty's gonna go just like this. Whoop, too far. Sometimes I don't know my own strength. Try to get that as lined up as best I can. Tap that little guy through there. We got one more to put in up here. There we go. I already hear you yelling at me, oh, a screwdriver's not a hammer. Anything's a hammer if you're brave enough. Probably shouldn't say that. I think I'm missing at least one nut. Giggity. We'll get these ones in here. Oh, I know where the other one is. It's up on my toolbox. Get these guys in here. I think that one's already got one on it. We're good to go there. And we're gonna throw a 15 millimeter. Where's the 15 millimeter? That's 17. Is that the right one? Oh. Sorry, folks. Send you flying. I hope you don't get motion sick easily. Oh, I know where it is. Right where I left it. But I am going to need my extension and swivel to make this just that much easier. Those of you using spatial sound can probably hear me walking around in circles. Just a little extra for you. Actually, we don't need it for those two. Take that off right now. Down there. Make sure we got this going the right way. We don't. There we go. There's those two. We got one more right here. I'm gonna need the extension and the swivel for that one. Once we get done with this, we'll throw some excuse me, gear oil in it. Ooh, burping up orange Gatorade. Yuck. I know this probably isn't the mediocre content you're used to from me, but unfortunately, this is one of those projects that just hasn't really gone my way since the word go. And I am missing at least one. Oh no, they're both up there. Never mind. Yeah, this project has not gone any way, shape, or form the way that I expected it to. Yeah, but you'll have that sometimes. Things aren't always going to go. Things aren't always going to go the way that you hope they do. Oop, and I got my wrench stuck. See what I mean? See what I mean? Sad part is I knew that was going to happen and I did it anyway. Okay. And being in your 30s, you end up making a lot of really strange noises as you get older. There we go. That's the last of those. Now we got to switch over to our 13mm. This guy here, and I should have another 13 right there. Getting on the back of these is a bit of a bear, but it's doable. And I got my wrench stuck again. Batting 1,000 today. Oh, there it goes. That'll work. Yeah, I've actually, there was actually a diff I got before this one. Guy shipped it to me, said it was in good shape. Got it out of the package. Pinion had a 1/4 inch of play in it. Gear sounded like there was like nuts and bolts rattling around in there. And all in all, just not a very good time. So I ended up having to get this one from a local guy who rebuilt it right in front of me, which was nice of him. Traded him some old Honda 3-wheeler parts and $150 for the diff. It's in good shape. Showed me the gears. The gears were in good shape, so can't really complain about that. Alright. One thing to remember when it comes to focus. When it comes to your shock and sway bar bolts, the shock bolt is just a touch shorter than the sway bar bolt because of how close it gets to the trailing arm when you pop it through. Let me see if I can get you guys switched over to the other side here. I'm really glad you folks can't see the mess I've got going on here. This is bad. It is bad. Alright, so now that we got that all in, I'll try to get you guys where you can actually see something. We're going to put the sway bar and shock bolt back in. If anybody wants to donate to the channel for me to get a new tripod, that'd be awesome. Just kidding, don't do that. I'm gonna get this shock bolt back in. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna start with the sway bar just to make my life easy. Got you kind of in my way. I can't really see anything, but it's not what we're here about. Yeah, if you use you'll know if you put the sway bar bolt in here instead of in the sway bar itself, because this, when it pops through, will be just about digging into the edge of that. I'm not really sure why they made those bolts so long in the first place. Seems like they could have made them a little bit shorter and still achieved the same goal, but you know, I'm not an engineer, so I'm sure there's some rhyme or reason to it that you and I will never understand. Get that one back in there. And once this is all back together, we'll put some fluid in it with my janky diff plug that I showed you earlier. And then it's just putting the tires back on, which I highly doubt that you guys want to see, because if you're this deep into your machine, I'm fairly certain you know how to take a tire off and put it back on. Oh, so it's going to be like that, huh? And make me do it the hard way? Eh. I'm down for it. Short-headed bolts, the bane of every mechanic's existence. That one done. This one I don't think I'd be able to get onto with the impact, even with a swivel, so we're not going to try. Come on. You can do it. I have faith in you. Yeah, somebody just walked past the camera. Oh. Alright, now that that's all in, we'll put some diff fluid in it. Alright, sorry about that, folks. Mrs. Scooter needed my help for a minute. We got our shock bolt back in, sway bar bolts back in. I may take these out and cut them down. Cut like I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches or an inch off of them, because they're about 2.5 inches the way they sit. And yeah, we'll see what happens with that. If I've got time before I'm supposed to leave for West Virginia, I may do it, but not entirely sure that I'm going to. Our final step here, well, aside from putting the tires back on, is greasing the rear diff, or putting fluid in the rear diff. We're going to turn you around over here. Alright, I've already got my diff plug out. You know, it's kind of crappy. I'll be calling the dealer. It's about 20 minutes away from me tomorrow or Monday, and seeing if they got a new one in stock. They should, I hope. If not, I may have to just run with that for now. I'm running 75/90. You guys see that at all? Yeah, it's a little bit too much light flash. There we go, 75/90 full synthetic. I'm running the, you can run this or you can run 70/145. It really depends on what kind of climate you live in. Climates that tend to be a little cooler, you want to run a slightly thinner oil, just simply because when it gets cold in the winter, you won't have to deal with it kind of becoming really chunky or really really thick when the temperature gets cold. These flex bags are actually kind of nice. I don't know if this is going to be enough. We're going to find out. Yep, that was it. Once you get a nice little steady stream coming out of there, that'll tell you that it's full. And you want to get a nice little stream running out, little puddle. You know, I probably should have put a pan down to catch that, but we're in my shed out back. If I were on the garage floor, I'd probably be running for rags right now trying to clean it up. Because the smell of gear oil is horrible. Just get this plug back in here. We're not going to go super tight with it. Just tight enough to keep anything from leaking out. And yeah, aside from putting the rear tires back on, that's pretty much all of it. This has been a I won't say one of the worst projects I've ever done, but definitely not one of the easiest, and a lot of it is my own fault, not checking reviews or ordering parts that weren't right or whatever the case may have been. But in all honesty, glad it's back together. You know, I'll throw a little grease in some of the fittings and put the tires back on and take it for a little rip. Now, oh, there was something else I had planned on saying. I do have a big gun fuel tuner coming for it, and I may do a short little install video on that. They're pretty simple to put in. There's not really a lot to it. They're all plug and play, and then just your fuel adjustments from there. But yeah, thanks for coming along on this little journey with me. You know, what of it I could show you, because if I'm being honest, this was a lot more than I was expecting. But yeah, until next time, keep a shiny side up.